Hey digital identity friends, I'm Lance from RootsID, talking self-sovereign identity. RootsID is an open source development group that builds software for grassroots identity efforts that matter. We engage with SSI communities like Prism, Trust over IP, Decentralized Identity Foundation, Carry, and Hyperledger, all with the mission of bringing SSI to the mainstream. Thank you to our sponsors at Catalyst. RootsID has just completed our latest user feedback updates for our open source identity wallet called RootsWallet. The effort was funded by Catalyst in the Fund 9 dApps Products and Integrations Challenge. The goal was to continue making updates based on user feedback for RootsWallet. Our budget was $7,800 over a 3-month period. RootsID co-founder and CEO Lance Bird was the primary developer on this proposal. He has been working with UI UX developers and designers throughout the development of RootsWallet in 2022. RootsID began to realize the importance of UI UX in identity apps at Consensus 2022 in Austin, Texas in June. RootsID spent 3 hours at the Cardano pre-event in the Prism booth answering questions about DIDs, verifiable credentials, privacy, and security. We were also able to speak at the Cardano booth during the regular conference. We had many conversations about identity efforts with World Mobile, Emergo, KYC companies, and big data analytic teams. It became more and more clear that showing something would be much more valuable than talking about SSI. We discussed identity wallets with one of the godfathers of SSI, Drummond Reed, as well as with the founder of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, who was interested in identity wallet certification to ensure equality. It was at an SSI panel with Drummond Reed that Identity Wallet UI UX came front and center. All of the panelists gave their opinions on where SSI tech and adoption are, and they framed it in the context of the personal computer and internet revolutions of the 80s and 90s. They noted that internet and PC tech existed throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but it wasn't until Microsoft Windows 3.1 made the PC accessible to the mainstream, and providers like AOL made connecting to the internet easy, that sparked the personal computing revolution. So using that comparison, they said that SSI tech is still waiting for its Microsoft Windows 3.1 moment. I hope I'm there at the awkward celebration when SSI goes mainstream. Maybe each dancing person will be from a different SSI ecosystem, company, open source foundation, and country, all with their own personal identity wallets. That was when Drummond Reed's final words of wisdom focused on identity wallets. He said that commercial-grade wallets will be the tipping point for SSI entering the mainstream. He noted the need for easy key rotation, the need for easy interop between SSI platforms, the need for backup and recovery of wallet data, and he said that all of those things will be presented to the user by an identity wallet. He said the identity wallet will be the browser for our digital identities. If we can nail the identity wallet, then SSI will go mainstream. After that, I asked him specifically about RootsWallet, the identity wallet that RootsID has been building throughout 2022. He said we should focus on 3 things: UX, UX, and UX. Just like internet browsers connected us to the early web without knowing what routers, DNS, and IPs were, identity wallets will need to hide the nuance of identifiers, agents, mediators, transports, protocols, and yes, even our crypto keys. Or at least find a way to make those things fun. At the time, the RootsID roadmap was already very cluttered, but we knew Drummond was right that UI UX will matter for identity wallets to be useful and see widespread adoption. So looking back to RootsWallet Alpha and combing through the long list of user feedback, we've begun working with UI and UX developers and designers. Admittedly, it's a relatively small amount of time compared to all the other development, but we are committing to improve quarter after quarter. You can see the contacts, and you can see that we regularly use modals inside a contact where you receive messages related to your digital identity and that contact. We tried to stuff a lot of information in there initially, and we still have hopes of being able to tune the amount of messages that a user sees depending on their preferences. Are they an SSI expert or are they my grandma? You can see that our buttons and backgrounds are not cohesive across the app. Several users had issues with the spacing between the buttons. Often names would overlap with icons, and prompt buttons were not clear and didn't react correctly when the user clicked on them. Here is the updated UI UX for RootsWallet. The top asked for feature was to bring RootsWallet to iPhone, so we focused heavily on that platform. The spacing, fonts, and layout all needed to be changed. We tried to create more space so that icons would no longer overlap with each other and other text. We moved away from modals, favoring bottom-up sliders. We tried to distinguish between windows while using consistent theming. We changed some of the naming, including giving the user an activity log so that they could distinguish between personal log messages and the activity related to their contacts. Often we tried to avoid words and instead used more descriptive icons to help the user want to explore rather than assume the meaning of an action. We have begun integrating with Atala 2.0 pre-alpha release and want to create a demo that the entire community can follow along with. We added features like retry and will soon have DIDComm integration on iPhone, similar to the secure DIDComm messaging that we already have demonstrated on Android. We know there's so much more we need to do to make RootsWallet a window into your digital identity, but we'd love to continue to collect user feedback and improve quarter after quarter until it is an identity wallet that even grandma can enjoy using.